Hi there, Jerry Cravens with Home Life Ambassador Realty. Today I'd like to show you how you can use Skyslope instead of zip forms or transaction desks to complete listing paperwork or buyer paperwork for your client. Simply go to skyslope.com. In the upper right hand corner, hit login. It's going to take you to the login screen where you'll enter your username and password. Your username is generally your email address that we set up for that. Once you hit that, it's going to take you to the main screen we're all kind of familiar with, where we would upload our completed paperwork into a transaction or a listing, or to use a DigiSign electronic signature. Now, mine looks a little different because it is an admin, but it's basically the same layout as you guys have. Always remember, SkySlope does provide 24-hour support 7 days a week. You can just click on this icon and you can do a chat or even a phone-in feature if you ever get stuck doing anything within SkySlope. So in order to access forms or the contract paperwork to fill out, we need to go up here to these 9 little boxes. If you click on that, you'll see where you can access forms or DigiSign. Today, we're going to go through and do forms. When we click on that, it's going to take us to a different section of SkySlope where we have what we can consider our file cabinet. In here, we'll find all of our files that we've been working on or that we've worked on that are not yet archived. We'll have our file name, what type of representation, whether it's buyer or seller in there, how many forms are within that file. Here, how many envelopes, and when we say envelopes, those are the envelopes that we've sent out for signatures to our client. And then over here, these 3 little dots, you can rename it, you can duplicate it, or you can archive the file. So in our case, we're going to go up here and we're going to create a new file. Now, when you hit create new file, very similar to when you're setting up a transaction or a listing within SkySlope, it's going to just ask you some questions. First of all, it wants to know who's your client. Is it a buyer, seller, tenant, landlord? In our case, I'm going to use seller. The nice thing with SkySlope, unlike transaction desk or even zip forms, it's really easy if your client is a company or a trust or it's set up as maybe a partnership, and you can click on this, add the organization name and who the representative is going to be that's signing the paperwork. In our case, we're just going to go with a regular client, and we're going to go John B. Cool. Now, very important you put an email address in for your clients, as that's what's going to trigger the DigiSign and allow this to work pretty seamlessly. So in this case, we're just going to enter a home life address so that we can do that. Now, a couple different things you can go down to for the property. If you were working with a buyer, you can hit import data from the MLS and you would type in the MLS number, it would pull it up here and you can import that, and it would import the address, the legal description, and any information from the MLS that it has. Now, if you have doing a listing and it's never been in the MLS, you can enter an address and it will start pulling up as you type in the address based on Google. So in this case, we'll use the office address. Now, when you come down here, it asks you how you'd like to name your file. You can name it by address or client. Now, I like to kind of do a model of both. So I go over here, instead of using either one, I will use my client, John B. Cool, and then the street name for this one. So we have 83rd Avenue. And we just simply go over here and hit create. And it goes out here and says, okay, I've created the main file folder. So if you look like this, it's this blue portion here. We have nothing in this folder. We just have a file folder set up. So now we need to add documents. It gives us several different ways that we can add documents. We can upload a document. So let's say a lender gave us a pre-qualification form that wasn't emailed, or we had something that we hand wrote with our client that we needed to upload. You could scan it, upload it, and you could add it to your file folder here. Or we can add forms the traditional way that we're similar with transaction desk or zip forms that you might be familiar with. So we're just going to hit add forms. And then it gives you all the different forms that it has in its library. Now, the main libraries that it has is the AAR, the Armless, and then the We Serve. And the We Serve, the only form that's in there is the adult community addendum if you're dealing with Sunsetty or any of the adult um, age restricted communities. If you were doing just a listing, you could go over here and go to Armless, and it'll pull up the 28 forms that Armless provides us in order to do listings, whether that's addendums, sold change forms, exclusive agencies. One of the interesting things with this one is how you find the exclusive right to sell. Remember, we want to do exclusive right to sell on a listing contract versus an exclusive agency. And if you see up here, we have this exclusive authorization right for commercial, business opportunity, multiple dwellings, land and lots, but you won't see residential. So it's a little confusing down there, and you have to come down here. And here's where we see residential listing contract exclusive agency and exclusive right to sell. Remember, exclusive rights to sell is the one that you predominantly will be using. If you have a question which form you should be using, please don't hesitate to give John a call and review that with him. So we're going to go ahead and add that form. So we added one form to our Manila folder there, our file folder, so be it. And now we're going to look at adding other forms. So we can search by forms. I know I'm going to need an agency form. So if I come over here and I say agency and I type it up in the search bar, it'll bring up anything that has agency in the contract. Now, this is all the different libraries. So we have exclusive agency, that would be an armless form, or we have the agency disclosure selection. And in this case, a seller, we're going to add that from the AAR form. The other way you can do it is you can go through and say, okay, I've done my armless forms. I need AAR. So I'm going to select AAR and just have those forms, and you can just scroll through it. Do I need an additional clause addendum? Maybe you're going through here, buyer advisory. No, and just kind of scrolling through, looking for things that you might need for the listing. If you have a printout of the critical forms or the required forms, you can always go through that. One of the things we know is in an HOA or not. So we need to add an HOA if that's the case. Market conditions advisory, we're going to add that one. And as we come down through here, we can just kind of scroll through and go, what do we need? Again, you'll see we've already added the agency disclosure. If there was a referral fee agreement, you might have to do that there. Maybe you need residential income or SPUDs for that. A purchase contract, not necessarily right away. And we just kind of continue through and we can look through that. I can add the SPUDs. I'm going to go ahead and add that one here. And then I can come down here and go seller wire advisor. So now that I've added my forms, I got 6 forms. I can look to see which forms I had. If I'm missing any, I could go back and re-add those. If I feel good about it, I can go ahead and hit next. And now Skyslope has entered all those into my file folder. Well, now we need to go through and fill these out so that we can send them to our client. So if you click the box, and it's hard to see on this screen, but there's a little round circle up here, and you can click on those and say, okay, these are all the forms I'm going to fill out. Now, as we know, the residential seller's property disclosure statement is not to be filled out by you, but by the client. So I'll generally unselect that one and send that to them separately. But now that I have all these forms selected that I know I need for the listing, I'm going to go ahead and hit fill and send. And it'll bring those right on over. And you can see they put them in order. So maybe I want to do agency first, HOA second, market conditions fourth. Oh, you know what? The seller just told me there's no HOA. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one out. But we do need the other ones here. So we'll go over to agency disclosure. Here you'll see home life. I've clicked on that. I can add anything that I might need in here. Brokerage license number, MLS code. We can add that. 01. We can add those in there, fax numbers, whatever may be the case, and it'll allow us to do that. If I'm setting up myself, I have my email. I can add my phone number, any other relative information that I want to add. Again, as you go through it, it's going to just make your life easier and it'll carry it from form to form, just like zip forms did. Now, we do need to come down here and go, hey, we're representing the seller. We're going to show the seller's property. And in this case, we're representing seller, John B. Cool. And it's set up to go. So then I just scroll down and it'll take me right into the next paperwork here, which is the ER. And it'll come through here and we've got the seller's name, the brokerage name, my name is the agent. It'll have the address. I need to add the assessment number, legal description, if it's for sale, rent, sell and rent, either way. Let's say we're going to sell this one for $500,000. Now, one of the things that you used to be able to do with zip forms is enter dashes. You cannot do that within Skyslope. If it's required to have a number, you have to either put a number or leave it blank. So in this case, I'm going to leave it blank, and then I tab, and it'll take me to the next entry field, which is when are you going to start this listing? I'm going to start this listing for Monday, the 10th of January, 2022. And then if I hit tab again, it's going to say, well, when's it expire? Well, we've agreed, the seller and I, that we're going to expire this one at the end of July. So I go over here to my calendar, select July 29th, and it'll pre-fill that in. Now, you come down here and it says, do you have a retainer? Again, I can't hit NA or spacebar or dashes. So I don't want my client to be confused or anybody to be confused down the road that I don't charge retainer. So I put in there 0. The commissions, we're going to say, hey, it's a sell. And John B. Cool is going to pay me 6% of the gross sales price or a dollar amount. Again, I don't have anything, so we're not doing a dollar amount. We're going to leave that blank. And if there was any additional commissions, whether they've got a bonus, if I were to sell the property in 10 days, maybe they'll pay me a $10,000 bonus, or I get an extra $1,000 if I can sell it above list. Whatever that case may be, whatever the commissions, you could spell it out here. Now, we do need to tell the seller what we agree to cooperate with other brokers. So in this case, we're paying 3% to the other broker, or if it's a monetary amount, we would put that in. Again, because we put in the percent, we're going to leave that blank. As you tap down, then it takes you to the rental. Again, I don't need to complete anything there because we're not doing rental, or it's not a rental right now, so there's no renewal or extension that's going to have me a commission. Now, we can continue through completing each of the forms here. However, when we get down to a form here where we say, okay, we're going to do the washer, refrigerator, dryer, above ground spa, or equipment. If I click on that, it gives me big box here to add the description. So we're going to put in here that there's not operable right now. We do not have anything above that, and it'll fill that in for us there. So if there were additional items, a person which might be included, in this case, we have the she shed in the backyard that John B. Cool uses to paint in. And if I hit save, it'll put in here the additional personal property which is included with this cell that may not be included in the fixed fixture or if owned on there. And you can add that there. And again, you just go through completing each of these forms just like you normally would. Whether a sign is, whether it requires photos, lockbox, and you just go through collecting all the box that is pertinent to your listing contract. Now, if you did have something that you wanted to enter in, any of these is where you can put your dashes that are fillable with text versus numbers. Now, as we go through and finish it, you'll see that John B. Cool's here. It has his email address. You can add his phone number. And here we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4567890. Hit save. Whoop, my bad. I put that under the other person. We need this under John B. Cool. 123456789 We're going to save that. And since I started to enter something here, it's going, hey, you need to take care of this one. I don't have another contact. I only have John B. Cool as my seller. So I'm going to go ahead and hit delete and remove that, and then we'll save it. And again, it'll fill in everything here. You can add in here your reserve on there and continue down. Now you can save and exit. If we had a template, we could save this as a template. If we do a lot of listing contracts that are very similar, or buyer contracts, maybe we've written 6 buyer contracts for this buyer and we haven't got anything accepted, we can save it as a template and it would automatically fill in those blanks and then we would change them. In this case, because we select them all, we just kind of keep scrolling down. We got John B. Cool with his market conditions, the wire fraud advisory with John B. Cool's name. So we've completed all of our forms that we need to do this listing contract. So simple as going over here now, and we want to prepare it for signatures. This is the best part of using Skyslope forms. You hit prepare signatures, and then we're going to go John B. Cool, and then agent's got to sign it, and seller needs to sign it. So we're going to go, okay, those are the 2 people that need to sign this listing. If I didn't need it or just needed a copy or no action, maybe we had a trust and then we had an executor and only the executor was signing, but we had other people that needed to see copies. We can add those as contacts, but they would just receive a copy, not a signature. In this case, we're saying both the agent and the seller need to sign this listing contract and the additional paperwork. So we hit next, and it's going to go over here, and it's going to do what we hate to do in DigiSign is put all your squares where they need to go. And you're going to see here, if I were to scroll down, it's got a signature. And you're not sure whose signature that is. Is it John B. Cool or is it Jerry Craven's, the listing agent? And if you notice, we have 2 different colors up here. Sometimes this will be green, sometimes it's red, depending on who we're using here. But we know this is John B. Cool because it's light blue. If I were to go down to the listing contract and scroll down to where the agent, the only place we need to see, you'll see it's dark blue here. But you'll notice also that everywhere an initial is required or a signature is required, it has completed. So maybe we had to go through and we're sending this over to the client and we're not sure if they want us to accept backup offers, withhold verbal offers, and we're going, okay, I don't know what I need to do here. So I've got John B. Cool here and I need to add a checkbox. I can come over here and I can say, okay, John B. Cool, I need you to tell me which of these you want us to do. Do you want me to withhold verbal offers? Do you want me to accept backup offers? Do you want me to withhold all offers? And we can put that in. Now, when we put these boxes in, we can come over here and we can say, hey, you've got to select at least 1 of these, 2 of these, 3 of these. If you did them in groups, you can make them read only or checked by default. If they're read only, they're not going to be able to check the box, but we're going to give them the option of checking the box. Maybe we don't want them to check this box, but we do want them to decide between these 2 because we want them to go ahead and go, hey, we won't want to withhold all offers once you agree. We've talked about we want to accept backup offers, but we don't want to deal with verbal offers. And we want to continue to market this property, so we can leave that in. Now, if your client has issues with, let's say, technology, you can go ahead and say, I'm going to check this for you. We've talked on the phone. I'm going to make it read only so you don't undo it, and I'm going to check it automatically for you. This one we didn't get a chance to, so we're going to let John B. Cool make that decision. And we can go on through here and scroll this, and it'll add anything that you need signatures. maybe we added an additional term and you need to add your own signature, you can come over here and do it just like you normally would, add a signature, add an initial. If it's something that you didn't mean to do, you can always delete it and go, okay, we're good to go. I always go through and scroll through, make sure everything's filled where I need it to be. It's got the signatures, the date, um, everything's completed that way. I'm ready to go. One of the other options you have is your outgoing email. The defaulted email is just you have documents to sign, you're ready to go. You can change this and you can edit this at any time and say, hey, here's my outgoing message. I'm going to go John B. Cool, 83rd Avenue, listing paperwork. And then maybe I add, please let me know if you have any questions. Simple as that. I hit save and it's ready to go. So now that when I'm ready to send it, I hit send and it's going to go through here and say, okay, your outgoing mail is this. Are we ready? And we send it for signatures. So once you're done, we can go through and be done here or sign now. Because this is a listing contract, I'm going to go ahead and sign it now and have it done. So when my client signs, I'm getting the completed document back. This is similar to what your client gets. We're going to accept or agree to those terms. We're going to hit start and say, hey, I'm ready to go. Here is the font that I'm using. I'm using this signature and it says, okay, we've signed it and dated it. And here you go. And you can either download it from here, wait, view. I'm going to say I'm all done. Now, when you go back to your file here, it's going to take you back to the John B. Cool 83rd Avenue. And here we've got it's signed by one of two. The listing agent signed it, but not the seller. I can come over here and I can view history, see when's he looked at it. Well, John B. Cool hasn't looked for it. We're still waiting for him to sign. We've had it ourselves have signed it. We've sent it out, but we don't have what we need. Now, to go back, you can always just go up here where the little arrow is here. We can also download. We can resend the envelope. Sometimes they didn't get it, or we can cancel the signing. Maybe we had an error. We need to redo something. We can go ahead and cancel that signing. One of the other things up here, we can have our file details. It's going to tell us whatever we have that we've added to here, and we can add contacts. We can add acceptance dates, closing dates, if we had an MLS number, sales price, any of that information. But right now we've got the envelope. Now, your client, on the other hand, is going to get an email. Let me switch this on over to John B. Cool's email. And John B. Cool, Jerry Crescent has requested your signature, and we're going to go ahead and sign this for John B. Cool because we know John B. Cool can't do this on his own. So similar to what I just selected, we're going to come down here. We're going to say, I'm going to sign this for John B. Cool, and you're going to use this signature, and we're just going to go through and do just like you would in any of the other DigiSign. And it's telling me, hey, I have the optional. Do I want this? Do I want that? Well, it doesn't give me that. I want to withhold verbal offers. I want anybody to put it in writing that they're going to send to me. And we just go through and we can sign everything here. Boom, finish signing. And then your client can download or they can view those signed forms. Now, when I come back over, I'm immediately notified that this has been completed. Now, once it's been completed, I can download it, I can print it just by selecting on it there and send that out. But I don't need to do that once we're ready to go because I have this all completed now. it allows me to see here what I want to do. If I had to add another form, I could always come over here, add forms, upload documents. But I have a signed listing contract that I need to complete. So I'm going to go over here to apps. I'm going to go back to Skyslope, and I'm going to go to manage listings and say, hey, I have a new listing. I'm excited to do that. And let me over here, create listing. So once I hit create listing, it's going to take me back to what I'm here for. And it's going to say, okay, you're ready. I'm going to help you set this up. So we're going to enter this listing. So we can go search by file name. The last modified, we're going to go John B. Cool because his cousin John S. Cool decided not to list, but John B. Cool went ahead and listed with us. So I'm going to select this. It's going to go, hey, what's the next question? Who's the agent? Well, in this case, it's me, Terry Cravens. I'm going to add that. And it's going to say, well, what kind of listing is it? It's just a regular traditional listing, not a short sale. I'm going to list it for 50,000. I'm going to say, nope, it's supposed to be 500,000. Okay. What's the commission? 3% to me, 3% to the other agent. I don't have any co-list, so we're just going to click there. It's already imported our listing start date and end date, and we're going to tell them what year the property was built. It's built in 1968. Let's go in here. What was our source? Did you get a sign, advertisement, open house, personal referral, any of those things? These are really good for you to go ahead and track where you're getting your clients from. That way you know where to spend your marketing money. In this case, this is a personal referral from a friend. And I'm going, hey, John B. Cool's information is there. I'm going to add that. I don't want to open a pre-escrow. If I did, I could go ahead and do that here. And it says, okay, here's your listing. We're ready to go. Create my listing. Now, once you're over here, you have your listing created. You have the docs that you're supposed to put in, and you have your checklist ready to go. Here's a great thing of using the Skyslope forms versus Transaction Desk, or even paying for zip forms where you'd have to download that and upload that. If I click over here to documents now, it's going over here and says, hey, all those documents that you've completed in forms are ready to go. So I'm going to assign my agency form. I'm going to come over here. I need to assign it. Assign market conditions. I'm going to assign that one. Market conditions form. I know I need that. Assign it there. Residential listing contract. We're going to come over here. Oh, clicked on the wrong thing. I'm viewing it. Don't mean to view it. I want to add it. So you check the box, assign, and this is our ER, assign. And if you notice, the spuds that we put in our file and the HOA that we put in a file but weren't signed aren't carried over. The only thing that's carried over are the signed documents. So we're going to sign our wire fraud advisory here somewhere. I don't see it, so I'm going to type it right here. Wire fraud. Well, I don't have to worry about that one. It's not required. So I can leave it there. I do not have to worry about it. And I've got these assigned. So if I go over to my checklist, we're ready for the broker to come over and review our documents. If we hover over it, it'll show us we have our signed documents. So a lot less downloading, printing, and uploading of paperwork. And what you'll have is all your paperwork in one spot if you use Skyslope forms. I know this is kind of a quick tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to John or myself. We can go through this. I'll also have this on our Home Life YouTube channel if you'd like to look and review it at any time. And again, the biggest thing is use support. The greatest benefit of Skyslope to you and to us is that they have a big staff that's there ready to help you navigate those forms. Again, If you have any questions, reach out to us. Thank you so much.